Everyone. No, hello everyone, and I'm back to another Godzilla movie. And today we're gonna review the original Godzilla vs Kong, also known as King Kong vs Godzilla. And to start off, this movie is probably great for me, but not a masterpiece, but it's still great. Full of kaiju action between both the most famous monsters in history, King Kong and Godzilla. It's a good thing that Toei decided to bring these two colossal monsters together to a one movie to fight against each other to the death. And and yeah, this movie is obviously very great. Very great kaiju action, etc. And let's talk about the plot. The plot's about it takes place some kind of direct sequel to After Godzilla Rights Again or Godzilla's Counterattack. And the plot's about two it's about a business like there's the all right. The plot's about a business who's like some kind of in the potential hurdles and trying to like send an expedition to find the monsters so they can produce more money. Taco just send his men to Faroe Island to find a giant ape named Kong to like produce to like use him as advertising. But at the same time, as a U.S. sub called the U.S. Seahawk, the submarine was like heading towards a group of icebergs, and one of them is glowing. And when they crash into the iceberg, Godzilla managed to break out of the iceberg, just breaking shit up. That's what you expect, and then etc. As for the same time, when Takua's men are like using Kong, or like or like carrying Kong all the way to Tokyo to advertise him. But right at the same time, the Japanese Navy stopped them from using it because they wanted a giant monster in their city. Until then, reported that Godzilla is literally already in Tokyo, already in Japan, who's rampaging across the north part of Japan, and when the crew members are trying to free Kong because they listen to the Japanese Navy, because if they don't release Kong or return him back to Faroe Island, that means they'll like get arrested or something. So they probably have to release Kong by using dynamite to explode it. So they both release Kong, and then like Kong makes his way to Japan again, makes his way to Japan and start wreaking havoc in the city. And right at the same time, both monsters encounter with each other. And then after, when Kong begins ramping across Tokyo, there was like they used some kind of berry juice, some kind of alcohol looking juice. They used some kind of berry juice on Kong to get him drunk or something, and then just passes him out, and then like just carrying his ass all the way to Godzilla. They used balloons to like carry him all the way when they spot Godzilla on Mount Fuji. Boom, and then they release Kong out of the balloons, and then dropping them all in front of Godzilla. They both began to beat the shit out of each other. Just that goes up what you expect for a kaiju movie. Just both of the monsters just beating the shit out of each other, and when both monsters like continue fighting each other all the way to all the way when they fall in the pagoda and just breaking it up, until the both monsters began to tumble into the ocean, and then Kong just rises up, and when Godzilla remains to be. While Godzilla disappeared in the ocean. And that's the whole plot of the movie. So let's talk about my opinion about the movie. This movie is obviously great. Great kaiju movie, great action sequences, greatest characters, and etc. But I'm not calling this movie a masterpiece, because the only thing I got like hurdles on the movie is the filler scenes, the Japanese version. Well, yeah, I do respect the people who love the Japanese version, but for me, yeah, the Japanese version is also great. The Japanese version is also great, but I literally found that it's kind of there's some parts that are really tedious that have nothing to do with the actual plot that we're just gonna go with, like in the party sequences and then in the commercials or whatever. It's actually kind of out of place for a monster movie, like taking things seriously and just puts random shit that we didn't care about. And also, My least favorite character in the movie is actually Taco himself. Taco's like some kind of selfish little bastard, just like only cares about money, only wants to use a giant monster produces to use him as money, to use him as advertising to make the show better. I mean, he doesn't care that the monster's actually a threat to humanity. He just basically just drag his ass and just want to put him in the show. I mean, well, yeah, what do you, well, yeah, you think that this is. Well, that's actually kind of a stupid idea. Just drag a monster all the way to Tokyo or do some kind of promotion about it. I mean, if you're releasing a promotion, I mean, the monster's gonna just break out, just wrecking shit up. It just goes up what do you expect. And yeah, Taco is definitely one of my least favorite characters in the movie because he's just really obnoxious. He only cares about money, etc. He's just really fucking obnoxious. He only cares about his stupid shows and etc. But doesn't even care about humanity, etc. As for this movie, both suits of the monsters are obviously great. Alongside with the Godzilla suit, well, it kind of looks like his face is like being squished in some kind of reptilian one or something, reptilian face or something. As for Kong, he's literally in this suit's actually okay, but his face looks kind of goofy, just like in the Godzilla costume in Godzilla Raids Again. But both suits are actually great. It's a good thing that Shiohana returned to this to return to direct this movie, including Eiji Tsuburaya to do the effects. It's a good thing they brought back two of them so make this movie really great as well. Well, yeah, there's actually two cuts in the movie: the American cut and the Japanese one. Also, fun fact: there's a magazine that just meant that one of us to believe that there's actually two endings for different cuts: the Japanese version that Godzilla wins, or the American version that Kong wins. Well, that advertising caused people are talking about it to this day, and they want to see the Japanese one to see that Godzilla will win, but then to finally they saw the original version, or should I say the original cut. They finally realized that the entire ending opinion is bogus, a fucking hoax. Was Spy Magazine a false advertising? At least it's still getting popular amongst fans and etc. And also, I'm gonna talk about the opinions for both cuts because I'm gonna explain. I only got a few positive things with the Japanese version because I'm gonna say this: the score and that's it for the original Japanese version, because the Japanese version is actually kind of slow to get. Well, I mean, there's some parts that we can actually see the kaiju action, but there's actually a lot of filler scenes that had nothing to do with the plot. It's just basically just appear out of nowhere for no reason, just pairing out the runtime. Yeah, everything in this movie is like some kind of reference to Godzilla Raids Again, because it's like they keep repeating the filler scenes from the last movie and just put them back in this movie. It's actually kind of out of place for a serious monster movie that just puts random shit in it. And let's talk about the American version. So, yeah, I watched the American version on YouTube because it's on the public domain, and I don't know how they released it in the public domain, because that movie is owned by Universal Studios, and I don't know how people keep releasing on YouTube, because I don't know how. But at least I could still at least we can actually see the full movie for the original version of Godzilla vs. Kong. I know watching the remake version. I know watching the remake version, Godzilla vs. Kong remake. It's actually really good, but the original version is actually really, really great. is obviously really great. So that's why I literally watched the original version of the movie, got King Kong vs. Godzilla, the 1962 version. So I'll probably get a pick my opinion which one is better, the American cut or the Japanese version. But for me, I gotta say the American version because it has a lot of faster pace that we can actually see the action, cuts a lot of filler out, and etc. It's a good thing. Well, yeah, I know the American version has a lot of sound, a lot of stock music in it, but at least the American version is actually kind of decent for me because it has a faster pace. Because in the original Japanese version, it's actually kind of slow pace when they put the filler scenes like the commercial sequence, the expedition. Well, yeah, the expedition one, the part and the party scene is actually fun, but it's just filler. It just it gets old really fast for people like me. And also, as for this movie, probably one of the famous Godzilla movies. It's probably fan favorites, including me, because it's a good thing they brought two popular monsters in one movie to like just to beat the shit out of each other, just advertising it because people are really excited to see both monsters just wrecking shit up and just killing each other. The only thing I wish they see both monsters fight, just like in Godzilla Raids Again, is both fighting in the fire in the city instead of just instead of a wasteland. Because that's the only main negative about the movie, because they both fought on barren wasteland instead of just a fiery city or something, just like it did in Godzilla Raids Again. But well, yeah, I gotta give the Godzilla Raids Again credit because they just both monsters battling in a fiery city. Meanwhile, people like running for their lives and seeing both kaiju just beating the shit out of each other, just like doing some kind of battle royale in the city. As for this movie, well, no, I'm like, well, yeah, the movie is actually really great for me, but it's still not great because it's probably like I wish that actually like they both fire in the fiery city, like in the poster that we just see, we were talking about. And also, I'm going to talk about the poster here. The poster in the Japanese version is actually really, really cool. And actually, it's not even that bad. So, the poster of the Japanese version of the movie is actually really good. Really decent. But I'm going to show you guys the American version. So, let's go talk about that. Here it is. Here's the American version. Here is the American version of Godzilla vs. Kong. So, this movie, the American poster is also great as well because it's probably really impressive that the American version ever did, but just painting both monsters like just beating the shit out of each other. And both monsters are actually really decent. The drawing of the monsters is actually really cool, really good, and etc. And that's all for my review for this movie. So if you guys comment below which one of the versions are better, the original Japanese version or the American one. But I think in my opinion, I think I prefer the American version better. But I will let you guys decide which one is better, the American version or the Japanese one. I'll let you pick. Alright guys, that's all for today. Be sure to like, subscribe, and have a good day.